So Tyson Foods hiring migrants has sparked boycotts. This is according to the latest from Newsweek. Now, also, in case you haven't noticed, Twitter or X, whatever you guys want to call it. Technically, it's X. I call it Twitter, whatever. Twitter is on fire right now. Everyone is slamming Tyson Foods for their Bud Light moment, if you will. And I have seen and read on X tweets and posts like these. You guys ready? According to Wall Street Silver said, Tyson Foods is firing American workers and replacing them with illegal migrants. Adding insult to injury, Tyson Foods will also provide lawyers to help with the immigration hearings. Do you guys believe this? Like, seriously. They included a Fox News clip with the headline that read, Tyson closes factory in Perry, Iowa. Another post, y'all, if you haven't seen it, by Will Tanner just an hour ago, or a couple hours ago. When you go to the grocery store and choose what meat to buy, remember that Tyson Foods just proudly admitted to firing thousands of American workers to replace them knowingly with illegal immigrants. In fact, not only did they knowingly hire illegals, they promised to get them immigration lawyers after seeking them out at a job fair for illegals. So if you're choosing chicken to buy, choose the brand that isn't spending its time and money filling America with illegal immigrants. An image posted by Ms. BJ included the words, "Oh boy, Tyson Foods is about to be in a world of hurt for firing Americans and hiring asylum seekers. Did they think no one would find out? But wait, there's more." Reuters warned Tyson Foods to close Iowa pork plant with 1,200 workers, and it is only getting worse. USA Today. Tyson Foods closing Iowa pork plant as company moves forward with series of 2024 closures. And I quote, more than 1,000 workers at another Tyson food plant are out of work after the company announced it is permanently closing one of its Iowa facilities. The move comes after the Arkansas-based company closed two chicken plants and announced job cuts last year, and said 4 other plants are expected to cease operations within the first half of fiscal 2024, with related charges at the time expected to cost the company $300 million to $400 million. Now, on Monday, Tyson announced it would shutter the doors to its Perry, Iowa pork packing plant. This is their quote. After careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to permanently close our Perry, Iowa pork facility, a company spokesman wrote in an email to USA Today on Tuesday. End quote. That was his quote. Now, according to Bloomberg, Tyson is hiring New York immigrants for jobs no one else wants. Meatpacker is seeking 52,000 new employees for factory jobs. Venezuela, Mexico, Colombia migrants hired for Tennessee plants, followed by Simone Foxman and Ella Saron's piece, which started off by saying, for politicians in Washington and New York, an unprecedented stream of asylum seekers presents an intractable problem with no easy answers. For companies like Tyson Foods, Inc., struggling to fill unpleasant jobs with a U.S. unemployment rate of 3.9%, this new population presents an alluring opportunity. Tyson is joining the nonprofit Tent Partnership for Refugees, which was founded by Chobani yogurt magnate Hamdi Ulukaya. Y'all know I butcher names here, with a plan to hire some of the 181,400 migrants that have come through New York City alone through their intake system over the past 2 years. The meatpacker already employs about 42,000 immigrants among its 120,000 strong U.S. workforce. And Newsweek published just yesterday on March 15th, 2024 at roughly 8:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is their post. Tyson Foods is facing boycott calls for planning to hire 52,000 migrants to work at its factories after closing a plant in Iowa this week. The company announced this week it is seeking to hire some of the thousands of asylum seekers who have arrived in New York City, Scripps News reported. The program could alleviate headaches for city leaders who have voiced concerns about the migrant population growth straining city resources. It would offer these migrants a job that pays $16.50 per hour, in addition to other benefits such as legal aid, child care, and temporary housing. The announcement came after Tyson announced on Monday that it would close a plant in Perry, Iowa that had about 1,200 employees amid a drop in demand for some products. This is according to Reuters. Tyson has shut down 6 plants in the past year. We've talked about those as they've closed. We've talked about them here on SquirrelTribe. Now, Newsweek reached out to Tyson Foods for comment via the company's media contact form. Immigration remains a key political issue ahead of the November presidential election, as the United States has seen an uptick in asylum seekers crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. Let's also not forget Canada into the U.S. There are people seeking asylum that direction too. Now, more than 2.4 million encounters at the border occurred in 2023 fiscal year alone, up from roughly 1.7 million in 2021. This is according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection data. The good old Biden administration, Sleepy Joe and his administration, they have faced calls to tighten border security to lower the number of border crossings as local governments across the U.S. have struggled to grapple with the increase of migrant populations. The two announcements sparked outrage from some conservatives. Critics took aim at Tyson Foods over their announcement to hire new migrants in post to X, formerly Twitter. Quote, "We need to bankrupt illegal immigrant magnet Tyson Foods. If your blood isn't boiling after watching a clip from Jesse Waters, you don't have a pulse." This is according to Vince Langman, a self-described ex-con deplorable with nearly 150,000 followers on X on the platform. Tyson is closing its facility in Perry, Iowa, and laying off its 1,200 workers. Instead, they plan to hire thousands of new illegals in states like New York. Hashtag boycott Tyson. Pass it on. Posted by the popular X user at @EndWokeness. They're firing Americans and offering perks to illegals. This is written by at MJ Truth Ultra on X. Now, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, who is a Republican, voiced disappointment about the decision to shut down the plant in Perry, describing it as a great big punch to the gut. In remarks to the Des Moines Register, the plant is expected to close on July 28th, March to April to May, June, July. So we got about 4 months left there, right? Now, according to Reuters, or however you say it, Tyson's pork segment had an adjusted operating loss of $128 million for 2023 fiscal year. Now, that is all that Newsweek shared in their article. But I have never heard personally of Crips News until today, but they are getting a lot of attention right now because of this Tyson Foods bombshell they just dropped on us all. They are the ones who dropped the bombshell of 1,200 employees fired and 52,000 illegal migrants being hired, right? They're in damage control mode now, though, and possibly due to legal action, and they could be held liable. But the headline does read, "A Scripps News retraction regarding Tyson Foods under the subsection of immigration." And just below that reads, "Scripps News has retracted this story because of serious factual inaccuracies." Now, this came out on March 13th, so the timeline here is a little wonky, but I'll read you what they wrote anyway. This is by Alex Tercios and Scripps News staff. This was posted at 7:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 13th, and it says, "Scripps News has retracted a story headlined, 'Tyson Foods wants to hire 52,000 asylum seekers for factory jobs,' because it contains serious factual inaccuracies. Tyson Foods, like many U.S. companies, has vacancies, but the company is not seeking to fill all of those vacancies with asylum seekers, as a retracted Scripps News story asserted. The original retracted story claimed that the food processing company wants to hire migrants who are arriving in New York for jobs Americans don't want. Since many of those migrants are awaiting court dates for asylum claims and do not currently have legal work status, that line could be taken to suggest that Tyson Foods is open to hiring anyone, regardless of the law. That is neither fair nor accurate. In a statement, Tyson Foods says its employees are all required to be legally authorized to work in this country. The company is working with the nonprofit group Tent Partnership for Refugees, which seeks to help refugees and migrants integrate into the economy. Now, in 2022, Tyson committed to hiring 2,500 refugees over 3 years throughout its partnership with Temp. Now, that was the end of the story that Scripps News shared. Now, I will say, we know for a fact there are a lot of jobs here in the good old United States of America that a lot of U.S. citizens do not want to do, and a lot of migrants, illegal immigrants, however you want to phrase it, are more willing to do, especially if they're going to get paid, cash under the table. Ow! These things always get stuck in my hair. Okay. So there are a lot of jobs that people who are coming here illegally are willing to do for less than citizens are willing to do for less. That's a given. We know for a fact that if you look out, you will see the majority of and I'm not saying they are illegal immigrants. I'm not saying they don't have work visas. I'm not saying anything like that, because there's no way I would possibly know unless I walk up to each and every single person working a job somewhere and say, show me your papers, But you will notice that a lot of the landscaping crews you see seem to be of Hispanic descent. A lot of the construction crews, a lot of the painters, a lot of the people in the farming industry, if you will, a lot of the people who are working construction in roadways, a lot of them seem to be of Hispanic descent. It does not mean they are illegal. Some of them could have work visas. Some of them could be born here, could be 100% U.S. citizens. There's no way for us to know. But I do feel like there are going to be more and more companies who willingly, knowingly hire illegal immigrants to do the jobs that people with born citizenship into the United States don't want to do. Either one, because people don't like to get their hands dirty anymore, or two, it doesn't pay enough, or three, it's dangerous and they're not willing to put their lives on the line for a certain amount of pay or a lower pay or whatever, right? But I want to point out to you the fact that so many headlines, so many videos have come out about, Tyson and hiring illegal immigrants and everything else like that. And the original news story that came out, they had to retract it because the way they stated it wasn't factual in the way it was stated. Now, I feel like there's a lot of that going around. I try very, very hard never to be inaccurate. It is going to happen every once in a while, not on purpose, obviously. But there are certain things people are like, why don't you talk about the cannibals from Haiti? I can't prove it. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't have proof. I just have that game telephone where one person says it and it gets passed down the line and then everybody's talking about it. If I don't have something that I can look at and say, I believe this to be factual, I'm not going to talk about it, right? The Tyson Foods thing, they are closing a plant in Perry, Iowa. They are laying off 1,200 people. They have closed numerous plants around the country now that they have been bought out, if you will, by China, because they are also, they've got numerous other things. They are working with I can't remember what company it is to do the plant-based meats, the fake meat, if you will. They have the pork section, they have a beef section, they have their chicken section. Their sales are down in numerous sectors of their company. And I feel like they are trying to keep their head above water so that, one, they don't have to close or file some weird bankruptcy, right? But also so that they don't have to really either lower the price of everything that they have in order to get people to buy their products again, or raise the prices through the roof so that the few people who are buying it can help them make enough profit so they can stay open. And the way they could do that would be possibly hiring a lot of these illegal immigrants that are coming through the southern border, through the northern border, through Florida, through California, through numerous different borders. In all honesty, being flown in by the Biden administration, Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, and Nicaragua, people are being flown in by the Biden administration, 30,000 people a month since the fall of 2022. We have Haitians that are trying to get into the southern border of Florida. You have all kinds of people coming through the southern border through Texas and Arizona, California. Chinese people are coming through also. Like, there's a lot of people coming into this country, and there are going to be a lot of companies who are going to see that and take advantage of it. They're going to take advantage of the fact that, hey, look, that person will do this job that nobody else wants to do without being paid a ton of money to do it because it's dirty, it's dangerous, it's gross, it's whatever. They will do it for far less because they need the money. So you're going to see way more companies, but not just Tyson Foods, Inc., in my personal opinion, with headlines coming out of, they've hired this many illegal immigrants, they've hired this many migrants, they've fired this many Americans. It's going to be, in my personal opinion, as time goes on, more of a fight for you and I to keep our, W-2 paying jobs, because there's going to be so many other people coming in willing to do the same jobs for far less money and with less, need of 401ks, less need of healthcare, less need or pushing for it. I mean, they're all going to need it, but they're not going to push for it the way you and I would, I'm sure, for 401k, for healthcare, for vacation time, for sick pay, for, normal working hours, for a lunch break, for anything else, because some people are willing to do far more for far less money because it keeps them here in the country. They can send money back to their family in other countries, whatever else. And I think that's going to be something that you and I, as a society, need to really be focused on for the next few years. I feel like the price of everything is going to be what keeps people from, drowning or not when it comes to financial whatever. There's going to be a lot of people who go hungry, not because there's no food on the shelves, but because they cannot afford the food, because the food is so flippin' expensive. People who are living in their car, not because there's no houses or apartments for rent, but because it's so incredibly expensive to get a house. What with the interest rate to get a home, whether you're getting a 30-year mortgage, heaven forbid you do an ARM, the amortized rate, I don't know what it's called. I don't know the long name of it, but adjustable rate mortgage. There we go. Those are a horrible idea, by the way. You're going to have people who can't can't rent someplace because they don't have enough money to put down first month and last month rent, because these places, apartments, townhomes, houses for lease and rent, they're costing so much. And then depending on what state you're in, they can cut your lease off like that. And you've got 30 days, 60 days, maybe less to get the hell on, right? It's going to be harder, I think, and companies laying you and I off to bring in people who will do the same job, like I said, for less. And I think what's going to happen over the next couple of years is, sure, we have to worry about, World War 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows how many. We have to worry about what's going on with, Israel and Gaza and Hamas and Palestine. And you got to worry about what's going on with, Ukraine and Russia. You got to worry about China. You got to worry about what's going on with Taiwan. You got to worry about what's going on all over the place. But we really have got to focus on what's going on within our borders, within our country, because while we're so focused over there, aliens, what's going on in the sea, what's going on over there and in that country and whatever, we're not paying attention to what is happening in our own states, what's happening in our own country with, not just illegal immigrants coming in, but with laws and things that are being passed, underneath our noses, because we're not checking them on a daily basis. How many people pull up, US or Congress.gov and see what your state is trying to put through law-wise that would impact you where you live? Who's really paying attention to when they pass a law, it's so and so and so and other whatevers. That and other whatevers, when they pass a law, that's where they screw us at the end. It's not the first things they mention. It's the and other, I can't remember how they phrase it, and other whatevers is not the word, but and other somethings. It's those that open-ended, just slide whatever you want in there that are going to cause issues for you and I in the long run in our own country. And I do feel like people need to be prepared, if you will, for what is going to happen over the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, whether it's with a new president or the current president, whether, a new one comes in, the old faithful comes back, or the current one stays in office. You just never know what's going to happen. But I do know that the cost of living is going to be the make it or break it for a lot of people. And it's not just because, like I said, of inflation and everything else. It's because all of these influx of people who, once again, are willing to do jobs for less than you are, who are willing to have 10 families live in a 2-bedroom house so that they can afford everything else. Whereas most people, most American citizens aren't willing to do that because we've gotten so complacent and so, I don't know the right word. Complacent might not be the right word, but we've gotten so used to living easy that when somebody comes in who has lived hard and they're willing to continue living hard in order to get what they want, they're going to succeed in areas where we may fail, only because a lot of us, honestly, aren't willing to live hard in order to get the things that we want. There are too many coddled people in our country who they're going to have a really hard, rude awakening in the next few months, next year, as prices continue to rise, as, more illegal immigrants come in and take over jobs, as things change around them. I really hope more people are open and awake, not woke, but awake to what is going on, because it's gonna be the make or break for America, in my personal opinion. Everything we're allowing at the southern border, everything we're allowing at the northern border, what we're allowing to be flown in, what we're allowing companies to get away with, children working in meatpacking plants in, the Midwest, illegal immigrants taking jobs from, United States, American citizens. So many things that are going on right now that we as a society have to understand, have to see. We can't turn our heads and turn a blind eye and pretend it's not happening. We have to focus on it, know that it's happening, and make those votes, those choices that can put a stop to the things that are literally destroying us from the inside out. Like I've said numerous times, the United States is its own Trojan horse. We're letting these things come into our country that are then going to turn around and destroy us from the inside. And the only way to put a stop to that is with your voice, with your vote, with the things that you allow or will not allow, the things that you stand by and watch happen, or the things you stand up against. So that's just, I got a little high horse there, and I'm sorry, it's not my intention, but I do think that we as a nation need to stand up against what is happening in our country and say, we will not stand for this. This is not what we signed up for. This is not what we want. This is not what we have allowed. This is not what we were told would happen. This is not what we were promised. This is not what we were, shown as the American way, as the American dream, or any of those things. And I think that we have to put our money where our mouth is. If you do not agree with the not rules, but the things that certain corporations are doing, boycott them. Boycott them with your dollars, with your bodies, with everything else. Share it out with people that you know. Boycott them. Those things will hurt in the long run. But the downside is obviously it will hurt Americans in the long run too. But at the end of the day, these companies will either wake up and step up and do what's right, or they will go under, and new companies will come in and they will say, hey, we can't do it like they did. Look what happened to them because they did not listen to the American people. We have to do it differently to keep people happy. And then maybe we can put this country on its axis and turn it around and get it back to where we wanted it. So that's it, y'all. Squirrel Tribe, thank you for letting me have this conversation with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything in the comment section. For those of you who mentioned Tyson in yesterday's video and wanted me to talk about it, hopefully this brought something that you wanted to hear, needed to know. If you don't agree with me on the things I've said, that's perfectly fine. We're never going to agree 100% on everything. That's what makes us great. The fact that we can each have our own opinions and we can have these conversations. So I would love to have your thoughts and opinions in the comment section regarding all of this. And Squirrel Tribe, I will see you guys again probably tomorrow. If not, definitely Monday for sure. I love you all. Have a fabulous and safe Saturday night. I'll see y'all later. Bye.